Hey everyone, my name is Nathan. Welcome back to Maple Street. August on Maple Street is Alfred Hitchcock month. This is the 5th year I have done this. He's my favorite director of all time, and so I always look forward to bringing videos to you focused on his filmography. I'm excited with this video in particular because for the first time in the 5 years I've been doing this tradition, I am talking about Hitchcock Presents. I've always focused on his filmography. I've never really dived into his TV personality. This year, I watched season 1 of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. It is roughly 39 episodes, and today what I want to do is give you my top 10 favorite episodes. I'll say right now that this is no Twilight Zone. I compare the two because they're both anthology series. I'm incredibly biased to the Twilight Zone. I've been watching it since I was probably 8 or 9 years old. But one thing I loved about Hitchcock Presents was Hitchcock himself. Both the intros and outros to each episode were very entertaining, and even if the jokes weren't always funny, they didn't always land, it's just fun seeing the master of suspense be a goofball. There definitely were plenty of instances of me laughing, other instances of me scratching my head. There's one episode in this season where Hitchcock is wearing an eye patch. It never explains why he's wearing an eye patch, and I thought that the episode would have to do with an eye patch of some sort. Nope. He's just wearing an eye patch. I don't think the stories in this season are as strong as the ones that we get in the Twilight Zone. However, there are still 10 episodes that I want to talk about today that stood out to me as my personal favorites. Number 10 is Don't Come Back Alive. The general premise of this episode is a husband and wife fake the wife's death so that they can claim a large sum of money from life insurance. And this pesty insurance agent continuously checks in on the husband throughout several years to make sure that the wife is actually out of the picture. If you ask me, I think the agent is a little too committed to his job. The ending is a bit predictable, however, I couldn't help but just laugh to myself. Number 9 goes to Our Cook's a Treasure. I'll admit this one had a pretty predictable ending, but that does not mean it wasn't a welcome ending. Throughout the episode, the husband thinks the maid is trying to poison him. More facts are revealed as the episode progresses. There is one scene to note that actually made me laugh out loud. It's a scene in particular where the husband is talking about the maid to his wife and how he's suspicious that she might be guilty of murders and trying to kill him. And as he's talking, the kitchen is very clearly in sight. The scene ends, husband and wife walk out of the room, and the maid just comes right out from the kitchen, clearly in sight the whole time. I just thought it was funny. I mean, was she supposed to be hiding? Because really obvious that she was there. Number 8 goes to Premonition. This episode was just very enjoyable. I really liked the mystery behind it. I liked the plot line of it, and it had a very good twist that caught me off guard. I also really liked Alfred Hitchcock's closing monologue in this episode. He tells the audience, "We'll see you," and then he checks his watch. There's no watch there. He looks back at the camera awkwardly and just says, "We'll see you next week." I don't know what it was. I really liked that. Number 7 goes to Help Wanted. Basically, this poor husband and wife are struggling for money. His wife needs a certain operation in order to guarantee she survives. And the husband finds a Help Wanted ad that is very secretive. He'll be working for an entity that he's not even familiar with, but all he has to do is fill out some financial reports, do some odd end jobs here and there. He reports even to an office every day. He's never seen his boss though. It's kind of like a 9 to 5 job where he shows up, does his work, and goes home. He doesn't know who he's mailing the reports to until one day he actually meets his boss and a certain request is asked of him. I'm not going to say anything further than that. I'll just say that it was the plot that really intrigued me, and I think the episode all around ended up being a good time. My next episode I want to talk about is Safe Conduct. This is my 6th favorite episode of the season, and I noticed it's a poorly rated episode from audience members. I really liked it though. There's a lot of back and forth. You don't know who you can trust. It's just surprise after surprise, and I like those kinds of stories that keep moving as long as they're done in a way where the story can still be enjoyed. Sometimes stories are guilty of having a twist and upon a twist upon a twist just for the sake of doing it, and it doesn't work out. This one I think works. I think there was also a great element of suspense in this story, which is always welcome from Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, of course. And I'm kind of purposely scooting around the plot line because I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but just know It's a lot of back and forth. I really enjoyed the ride. Number 5 goes to The Long Shot. This episode is all about conning others. And the great thing about this episode is something that I can't say because it ruins the episode. That's the case with a lot of these episodes, but just know that I really liked the direction that this went in. It was also cool seeing John Williams in an episode because I've seen him in plenty of Alfred Hitchcock movies. The general plotline though is a con man thinks he's getting away with a really good deal where he is cheating out this rich person by being their chauffeur as they travel across the country, and it doesn't quite go as this con man was expecting. I'll leave it at that. Number 4 is Back for Christmas, and I think this just had Alfred Hitchcock written all over it, especially with the humor, the dark sense of humor, I should say. A man is very frustrated with his wife and just what a nag she is to him, and so he is planning her murder. He has a very strategic way with murdering her, and his plan is perfect. Nothing could go wrong, but of course this is an Alfred Hitchcock story, so something goes wrong. And I'll leave it at that. Number 3 goes to Who Done It. The last 3 episodes I've talked about are all John Williams episodes, but what can I say? He was in some great episodes. It's a Who Done It scenario as you've never seen it before. Usually you're trying to solve who committed the murder, and the story ends with you reveal the murderer and all is well. This one takes an interesting turn where you are still trying to solve who the murderer is, but you are solving it from the perspective of the one who was murdered. Yes, the episode has a scene in the afterlife, which is very corny by today's standards. I personally loved it because it was so corny. John Williams has angel wings and everything. It's great, but he has an opportunity to go back to the day he died and try to solve his own murder. And it's especially interesting because as a living, when he was alive, he was a murder mystery author. I just really liked this twist on the whodunit story. And again, John Williams was a welcome addition to a Hitchcock Presents episode. My number 2 is Breakdown. This episode stars Joseph Cotton, and it is an absolute nightmare of an episode. This man is in a car accident, and what comes of it is he is paralyzed to a point where he's completely conscious, but he cannot move a limb. He can't even blink. There is a piece of this episode where he is assumed dead, and you can imagine the horror that comes with that, being paralyzed and being assumed dead, and you're trying your hardest to prove that you're alive still, but you can't make any movements or make any sounds. And so just a very scary situation, and Joseph Cotton does a great job. The episode really stuck out to me because it's just so scary to picture yourself being in that situation. My favorite episode of season 1 though has to go to You Got to Have Luck. The episode was good the entire time. I was like, all right, home invasion episode, been there, done that, seen this plenty of times, but the twist of it completely caught me off guard. I could not have predicted this. You know how you get that really good feeling when a twist happens and you're just satisfied because you didn't see it coming? That's how I felt with this episode. It worked so well from the beginning to the end, and it was easily the most enjoyable, most entertaining, and most I got out of an episode this season. So as always, leave your comments down below on what your favorite episodes were from season 1 of Hitchcock Presents. Thanks so much for tuning in to Maple Street, checking out another Alfred Hitchcock video, and stay tuned for the rest of the month where I'll be posting more and more Hitchcock content. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Have a great day.
Good night.